Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome to the preview show for the Brighton game. Man United are playing as well against Leicester. That's just started, only 3 minutes gone by. We're going to be talking about everything to do with the Brighton game tomorrow. Who's going to start, who's not available. And we're also going to be speaking about lineups, tactics, and going into the head-to-head as well as the current form records for both sides to see what is actually going to happen in this game. Brighton are obviously a decent team. The question is this a good time to play them, or is this a bad time? Big up to everyone that's watching on YouTube. I hope you're all doing very well. Daniel, I see you. Good to see you back on the stream as well, mate. If you haven't already, smash the like button as well, guys. Let's run them up nice and quick. Yusuf, good to see you on here as well. Always a pleasure. Let's get straight up to, can we get 15 likes on the video? Straight up to 15 likes if possible. And I'm going to dive into everything regarding the team. Now, for those of you who didn't watch the stream earlier on, we had some unfortunate news, which is that... what was I saying? It was about Mark Guiu, and he is not available for this game. It seems like his injury is a little bit worse than we expected, which is a shame because, to be honest with you, straight off the back, I'll say it right now, Mark Guiu should be starting against Brighton, but the fact that he's not available, obviously there's not too much we can do about it. Can't blame it on the manager. It's not the manager's fault he's injured. We have a lot of players in this squad that have real injury problems. So we just have to work with what we've got. Big up to Tristan from Jamaica. Good to see you, my friend. You know, I had my birthday a week or so ago, and I was meant to have Jamaican food on my birthday. It never happened, but I was meant to have some. So... I don't know what it is. Kev, for those of you who watch the channel, Kev he's got Jamaican blood or something. He introduced me to it. Absolutely love Jamaican food. It's brilliant. Big up to you, Tristan. Daniel, Jackson Angui. Hang on a sec. Is Jackson confirmed? I don't remember anyone confirming that Jackson was out. Oh, I don't know about that one. Well, I don't know about that. I think that Jackson might be available. He's a risk, but I think he might be available. Yusuf, I think you're right. I think he'll be assessed. So there's a good chance we could see him start and come off early or coming off the bench. Either way, I do feel like we might see Jackson tomorrow, if I'm honest with you. I hope that we don't. I think he needs some time out irrespective, but we'll have to see what happens. Big up to you, Stephen. I hope you're doing very well, mate. Enjoying your Friday evening. And Father as well, the governor. Do you still have those spares, Father? I can help you flog them if you need help with that. I'm sure somebody on the stream will take the spares. I don't know if you got rid of them or not, but I saw it on the group chat that you still had a few tickets for the Brighton game. It's Winstanley and Stewart playing as strikers. I think at this rate they're going to have to, because it's not looking great, Stephen. It's not looking great. Yeah, I mean, we're going to dive into everything. I'll answer a couple more things if anyone's got any questions, and then I'm going to go straight into it, dive into Brighton. And Cuckoo offers nothing at number 9, and it does not work. But what happens if you don't have any number 9s available, Daniel? Then what do you do? What is the solution then? Tristan, big up to you. Jackson will be assessed for tomorrow. Yeah. Chelsea all the way. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. And look, I think that... Let's see if I can clean my webcam. Does that look better? Yeah, let's see what we're up against with Brighton. I think it's good. You know, so I watch some of these streams and from other people, no one in particular, and you know, there's a lot of talk about teams And obviously I'm going to speak about it as well. But I love to dive into the numbers. I love to see what actually has happened, what will happen, what can happen. So let's see. Where are Brighton at the moment? What does it mean for Brighton this game? What's that record like in the FA Cup? Who have they got next? And do we really believe that we can get a result in this game? I think there'll be a mixture from Chelsea fans, because I know we've got a lot of pessimists in the fan base, but we've got to have some optimists as well. Let's look at their form so far, and dive into how they've been playing. And then we're going to look at Chelsea's form as well, because it's good to compare the two. I think these things always make for an interesting assessment. Right, and then we're going to look at the Premier League table as well. Okay, perfect, nice one. Okay, so if we're going to look at the Premier League table first. So right now, Chelsea are 4th on 43 points. Brighton are in 10th. Okay, so we are 10 points ahead of Brighton. Okay, so based on that fact, I feel more confident playing Brighton now than I would have last season. Now I know this is still a cup game, but it is relevant looking at the league table. We want to see how these teams are doing. I think last season Brighton would have been closer to Chelsea than this season. So that's a positive. That gives me a bit of confidence coming into it. If you look at Brighton's results that they've had in recent games, I mean, we're going from November. Maybe that's a little bit too far. Let's go from January. They drew against Arsenal. They beat Norwich. They beat Ipswich. They beat Man United. They lost 1-0 to Everton. They lost 7-0 to Nottingham Forest. I think we can all remember that one. And that was their last result. So this is not a bad time to play Brighton in terms of momentum. When was the last time they lost 2 games in a row? When was the last time Brighton lost 2 games in a row? They lost to Palace. They lost to Fulham, but that's not 2 in a row. So they lost twice against Liverpool in a row. So Brighton aren't a team that lose twice in a row much. That's one thing I can say. But yeah, this could be a good sign for us. It could be a sign that, that they're losing confidence, whatever it is. I mean, to be honest, I don't know enough about Brighton. So it'd be interesting to see, what else there is to it. But their record in recent times has been relatively mixed, but short term, not too great. Have they got any news that's come out? What's the latest Brighton news? No real injuries that we can see as it stands. Brighton are out of the Premier League Cup. Fair enough. Chelsea team news. Baleba and Ayari doubtful. Now we know Baleba is one of their better players. I was told about Baleba, and this guy here. I was told about him when they played us initially. He's a baller. He's a really good player. I'm sure he scored as well against us as well in that 4-2 game. How do I describe Baleba? He's a midfielder with a little bit of, do I want to say flair? I don't know. He keeps Brighton ticking. I think Baleba to them is almost like, Caicedo to us. Very important asset. If they lose him, I think their midfield's in big trouble. So that's a positive sign. Let's see what they have to say about it. He missed last Saturday's game against Nottingham Forest. Fabian Hertzler says there's a chance he could return on Saturday. Mats Viffer is training again, but Saturday's game might be too soon. Baleba and Ayari, they both missed the game against Nottingham Forest, and Estupinian as well. They are all doubtful, but there might be a possibility that 2 of the 3 have a chance to play. So I think it's in our best favour for those players not to be available, especially when you look at the fact that they missed the Forest game, and I don't know, maybe that had an impact on the performance. I didn't actually watch the game. I only saw the highlights on Match of the Day. So I think it's yeah. So this is the manager's thoughts. We analysed the Nottingham Forest game. We were honest to each other. We had a lot of individual talks also, but I think especially in these moments, it's important to analyse and then find the right conclusions. So not to overreact, to stay calm and trust the approach you had before, because we're in a good way. One game shouldn't define our season, and it shouldn't define our whole team. It's also important to go back to the basics. And I think one of our basics is to play with intensity, and I think we missed that in the last game. We have to go back to what makes us strong, and that is intensity. When asked about the FA Cup, he talks about the chance to win a title. Now, that gives you an indication that Brighton are going to be looking to play a strong team. They're not going to rest too many players if they can help it. Or maybe he's just chatting shit. I mean, there's a good chance of both. But he's talking a good game, isn't he? We have to go all in. It's a do or die game. Well, it seems like they're taking this one very seriously. Fair enough. Albion have lost each of their last 4 meetings with Chelsea in all competitions, and the Seagull have also won just one of their 11 home matches against Chelsea. They've drawn 3 and lost 7. Chelsea have progressed from their last FA Cup tie, their last 2 FA Cup times against Brighton, doing so in 1966-67 season in the 4th round, and in 1972-73. Since their promotion to the Premier League in 2017, Albion have won just 5 of their 6 FA Cup 4th round ties, with the exception of being a 3-1 loss at Spurs in 21-22. Chelsea have progressed from 25 of their last 27 FA Cup 4th round ties, with the exceptions in this cup run against Everton in 2010 and Bradford City when Mourinho was our manager and we lost in 2014. I remember that one very well. That was at Stamford Bridge as well. My God. So yeah, that's Brighton's stance on it. They've got a couple of players in doubt. Julius Randle. Okay. What's the injury report there? What the fuck? He's a basketball What the fuck is that? Why are you asking me about a basketball player? I was thinking to myself, I don't know who Julius Randle is. He's an American basketball player. Is he injured? It says that he's sidelined for at least 2 more weeks. So there you go. If you want NBA news, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV. There you go. What it do, my friend? Good to see you. Oh, my friend, the coach. He's back from Kuwait. Big up to you, my friend. Good to see you, man. I'm going to see you in Brighton, aren't I? I'm looking forward to it. The match-going fans should start chanting, "You don't know what you're doing." All matches from now on. Who's that directed at, though, Stephen? Are we talking about the ownership? Are we talking about the director, the management, the players? Where do you direct that? We play Brighton 2 times in 2 weeks, FA Cup and Premier League games next season. That is correct. Big up, Pierre. Alex, big up from Montreal. My friend watching from Canada. I hope you're doing well, mate. The Clown Lake Derby. Well, we both have a similar model, don't we? It's although we just end up buying their players, so they're making more money than we are in that respect. Check, blah, blah, blah. Alex, remember the fan that had a nice conversation? Oh, yeah. No, I know. He just said hello, didn't he? Coach Yusuf. I remember. Yes, boys. Yes, that's good. I love it. So that's Brighton's scenario at the moment. So a couple of players that are in doubt. We've got Baleba and Ayari doubtful, potentially Estupinian as well. But apart from that, no new injury news as of yet. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect any other major changes from that side. What about from a Chelsea perspective? Now, we look at our recent run of form, how we've done especially since January. Things have been going downhill, haven't they? They haven't been looking too great. But it is a time to not just capitalize with the change of momentum in one game, like we did against Wolves, but we want to actually find that consistency. We drew against Palace, beat Morecambe, drew against Bournemouth. We beat Wolves, lost to City, and then 2-1. So actually, it doesn't look as bad as you think, really, in that sense. But if you look at December and how we fumbled at the end, the draw against Everton, the loss against Fulham, the loss against Ipswich, we dropped points against Palace again, dropped points against Bournemouth again. When you look at that run as a whole, it's not great. But I want to see us bounce back. I want to see a consistent approach now of winning. You know, I'm not saying you have to win 10 games in a row, but listen, if we can pick up some momentum, then I will be all over it. What else? So Chelsea Match Centre, have they got anything here? The FA Cup, we've already seen these stats as of the last match we played against Brighton. For those of you who can't remember, we won 4-2. Both goals that Brighton scored were courtesy of Robert Sanchez mistakes, which is just classic, isn't it? Typical. But listen, I'm certainly confident that we won't have the same problem again, because he can't start this game. He can't start. If Robert Sanchez starts in this game, it's an absolute disgrace. And well, honestly, at this rate, if he starts, then I'm going to question the manager, because I've already said it. But I don't think Maresca's that stupid. He can't be that stupid. But listen, we all learn things at some point, and maybe Maresca is, but fingers crossed he's learned his lesson from the last game. When will you bring Johnny Minerals to your studio? I just want to say this. Johnny is always welcome to come on Chelsea Fan TV. I have never had a problem with Johnny. He's always welcome, but he's not interested either. So I don't force him to come on. I don't think he wants to come on, but he is more than welcome to come on the channel. I've said that to him before. You have a message you want to get across, I'm happy to allow you on the channel. I don't agree with everything Johnny says, but I agree with parts of it. And he's more than welcome to join us in the studio. So that is up to him if he wants to come and join us. And thanks for the super chat as well. Sasuke Uchiha is justice. Do you think we can go for a 4-2-4 formation? Well, we're going to break down the formation as well, and we want to speak about what we did when we last played Brighton. If you look at the match day as a whole, this is what we had previously. We had Sanchez in goal, Gusto on the right, Cucurella on the left, Fofana and Colwell. There's one of your options already not available with Fofana. Fernandez in the midfield alongside Caicedo. We had Madueke on the right, Sancho on the left, Palmer in the middle, and Jackson up top. Lega came on, that can't happen. Lavia came on, that can't happen. And Mudryk came on, that can't happen. So we're not actually able to do the same things that we did in that game, so don't expect it. But yeah, I don't see the system changing too much, if I'm totally honest with you. My stance on it is I don't think Maresca will change the system whatsoever in the sense of the formation. You know, people complicate it and they talk about a 3-4, a 3-3-4 and whatnot. I was like, God, why'd you have to make it so strange? It's because the fullbacks invert. They're still fullbacks, even if they're inverting. The formation isn't different. They come in, but they are a fullback. So keep it simple. I can go through the predicted lineup right now. Of course I can. What would I do? I'll tell you exactly what I would do. I'll give you the obvious one first. I'd have this man in goal, Jorgensen. I think that's a no-brainer. But there are still people who will go, well, Sanchez is the cup goalkeeper now, and it's a cup game. Give him a chance. Fuck off. Get him out of my club. He's shite. He is rubbish. That Sanchez, honestly, people go to Chelsea because they have a tough life and they want to get away from the stresses of life. And then they watch Robert Sanchez. Honestly, I mean, I don't smoke, but I'd start smoking if I had to watch him every week. Let's put it like that. Yeah, so Jorgensen's got to start for me. You know, people act like this guy isn't an established top keeper. He is established. He is a top keeper. That's why we bought him. It's actually better than that. He's a young established goalkeeper who was one of the best goalkeepers in Spain last season. And people seem to think that he's not a top goalkeeper. I've had this argument with Charlie as well, who seems to think that Petrovic and Jorgensen aren't good enough. Now, I don't know if Jorgensen's good enough to win a title with Chelsea. Now, based on Jorgensen's form, I actually think he is. I think that. Sorry, have I gone the wrong way? So I don't know if Jorgensen's capable of doing it, but based on what I've seen with Petrovic, I think he is. But Petrovic isn't available. I think Petrovic, honestly, if he plays in a top kit team, I think he's he can be a top goalkeeper. I'm talking right at the top. You tell me how many terrible games Petrovic had last season. I'll wait. He performed in the big moments for us. He saved us. When we played in the cup final against Liverpool, if it wasn't for Petrovic, we wouldn't have even felt let down by the team because we would have been infuriated with how poor the result would have been. We would have conceded multiple goals. And because of Petrovic, we actually had ourselves in with a chance of competing. And that's what a top goalkeeper does. Now, Sanchez is the opposite. You're playing with a disadvantage with Robert Sanchez. But with Jorgensen, you still have a good keeper there. And, I don't understand why people are, they're just very impatient. I don't know what you expect from this guy. As a keeper, he's proven his worth. And we signed him for how much did we pay for him? His market value is £20 million at the moment. How much did we pay for him? We paid 24 million. Is that pounds or euros? Is that pounds or 24 million quid? Whatever. And I want to know how many clean sheets he's had. Well, this season he's only got one clean sheet, but he's only played one game in the FA Cup. These are FA Cup stats. Let me, I'll share this tab with you as well, guys, so you know what I'm talking about. What about... I want to see how he did. I want to show you how he did last season so you have an idea of what we're working with here. All competitions. So this is when he was still a Villarreal player. Is that right? Yes. This is when he was competing in La Liga. So 36 games played. 37 in total if you include the Europa League. He didn't play in the Copa del Rey. Okay. So he had a lot of game time last season, as any goalkeeper would. How many clean sheets did we get in that time? How many clean sheets? I want to know how many clean sheets the guy got. Come on. What's that? Fucking hell. I hate this app sometimes. Right, let's best goal keeper stats in La Liga last season. He was one of the best. That's the point, guys. Fucking hell. I don't know why I'm doing this. All right, let's share this one. Wrong season. I give up. Whatever. He's a good goalkeeper. All right. Trust me on that. That's the issue with our team. Early season, we were flying high because our attack was firing on all cylinders, and teams weren't punishing our mistakes. No, they were punishing our mistakes. We were outscoring them. I mean, we were making mistakes and scoring 5 goals in certain games. We scored 4 against Brighton when we made 2 glaring errors, and people are so happy. Hang on a second, you've got a bumming goal. He's going to cause you some problems, isn't he? Has he saved us more points or has he cost us more points? There was actually a debate about that at the beginning, and there was a real debate. But he has cost us more than he has saved us. That's one thing that I will say. Alex, how many people from Chelsea Fan TV agrees with Mr. Minnell's opinions? I wouldn't know, to be honest with you, Stephen. I don't ask people. I don't ask. You'd have to just ask them yourself. I don't know. Some points, maybe. I'm honestly not sure. Alex, do you think the Garnacho move failing was down to Mudryk? Possibility of his second test being negative? Well, no, I don't think that's why the move didn't go through. I think Man United wanted too much money, just like we wanted too much money for Nkunku and Chukwuemeka as well, considering the game time, and João Felix as well. The amount that we would demand for those players. I don't think that's why the move broke down. So I don't think that's the reason. I always said if it was 30-35 million, I think it would be a good deal for both teams. The beauty of Garnacho as well is he's on 50 grand a week at United, 55 grand. So he can easily fit into the wage structure and still get a nice pay rise. On top of the fact that he's going to be in a real prospect. We can build this team around players like Garnacho. I'm not saying he's the Chelsea finished product. I know there's a lot of people that are very upset with the idea of signing Garnacho. Lewis was one of those people. But for me, Garnacho would fit into the team. When you look at what we have on the wings, and we still have a lot of options, you can still strengthen. And there's still players out there that can make us better. I think that Garnacho is a better player than Mudryk. I think he's an upgrade, not a massive upgrade, but he is an upgrade. But then you have to put it into context. You know that you don't want to have problems like you've had with João Felix, where you have to loan him after signing him 6 months ago. You don't want to have these problems with Vega. Same thing. So you need players who are good enough, but also humble enough to accept that they're not going to play every week, or maybe they are going to be second fiddle. And that's where you look at players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek that we've had in the past, and there were blessings because he didn't kick up a fuss. He didn't cause problems. He got on with it. He played his football. And that's what you want as a fan. But unfortunately, in the modern day, with so much going around on social media, I'm sure fan channels and stuff like that doesn't help, especially if a player gets distracted by it. You're always listening to what everybody else is saying. So if everyone's going to João Felix, oh, you're such a good player, you should be playing every week. What, instead of fucking Palmer? Come on, guys. Give yourself, it's ridiculous. But it's not his fault. He chose to sign for us. He expected more game time. We sold him this project. He wouldn't have accepted the project without a guarantee of game time. We probably lied to him, if I'm being totally honest. The treatment that we've given players is nothing short of a disgrace. Look how we treated Chalobah. You think that's acceptable in the modern day? How many teams treat players as badly on a consistent basis? Every single window, there's a problem with Chelsea. There's not a problem every window with United. There's not. There isn't a problem every window. Well, there is probably, but you know what I mean. It's not good, is it? The point is that we need to sign players who can integrate in the dressing room and be a part of the squad for the long term, rather than players who are going to stay here for 6 months and a year and then go. Also, you need to buy players that are going to fit into the manager's ideas. We talk about the recruitment. What the fuck is this? We've got Gusto, who can't play as an inverted fullback. You've got Vega, who wants to be a centre-back. He's been asked to play as a left-back. You got Chukwuemeka, who's a 10, can never play in the 10 because Palmer's always there. You got the same thing with João Felix. You got the same thing with Nkunku. And then you got wingers that don't perform, and you think, hang on a second. maybe I should just play Palmer on the right and play these other players in their best position, you might get a little bit more. Talk about balance as well. Cole Palmer is one of the hardest workers in the team. If you actually watch him play, he runs, he presses, he commits. He's not like Messi. He's not like Ronaldo. These guys who score a phenomenal amount of goals, and no criticism there, but defensively always lacking something. That's never been a problem with Palmer. He's always been a hard worker. So to talk about balance in that perspective is just a lazy argument, to be honest with you. Would you start Gusto? He was good coming against West Ham. Yeah, I would start Gusto, but he doesn't suit the system. I think Gusto is in a really unfortunate situation where he's been forced to play in a position where he doesn't. You can't get the best out of him. You just can't. If he's not allowed to overlap, then it's difficult. But I love Gusto. I think he's a fantastic player and a good guy. Yeah, you think James should be dropped? Well, I don't think he should be dropped because of his form. I think he should be dropped because we need to take care of him. We need to manage his body. He cannot hold his body up. So there's no point playing him for this game. I don't see the point. Play him in the Premier League game. Wagwan Alex up the Chelsea with Maresca. He's like a ground man in Clear Lake, the obvious owner. Now to do his job, Maresca has to use the tools given to him. Unfortunately, Sanchez is an expensive tool, but you say that. We spent 25 million on Sanchez. We didn't spend much less on Jorgensen. You know, Jorgensen was still what? I think it was 24 million, around 20 million. So we talk about all this stuff. The owners paid for Jorgensen as well. So fucking drop Sanchez. Also, I just want to say as well, I mean, this season, I'm sure they've already got their deals established. Next season, if I see a single commercial with Robert Sanchez, I think this club is self-sabotaging. How can you use this man to, I don't know, any sponsor that Chelsea has, you should downright refuse, you should pull out of your deal with Chelsea if Robert Sanchez is the goalkeeper in the commercial. Give us Jorgensen. Give me Mike Penders. I'll take Penders. Don't give me Sanchez. Come on. I haven't got a problem with Sanchez as a person. We're talking strictly football here. And from a marketing perspective, it makes sense as well. You want your best players on there. I don't think it does at Chelsea any favours having him in the commercials. Okay, goalkeeper's a really tough position because rarely do people see your value unless you have centre, clean sheets and multiple saves per match. You're right, but where's the value in Robert Sanchez? I'll leave it at that. Where is the value in Robert Sanchez? So Sanchez was have to bring forward a performance that's not open for interpretation before it can change. So I guess we have to hope that Sanchez messes up. No, we don't have to hope because we just need to hope that he doesn't play in the first place. That is what you hope for. You shouldn't hope for. Oh God! If Maresca plays Sanchez, he's an idiot. He's stupid. I like Maresca. If you play Sanchez, you're not all there. You are crazy. You are crazy. I wouldn't play him in a single Conference League game. I wouldn't play him in a single FA Cup game. And I wouldn't play him in a single Premier League game. I wouldn't play him at all. I wouldn't even let players train with him. Because whatever he has is like a disease. Get away from me. I don't want to touch you. No. If anyone's watched Neil Warnock, you'll know what I'm talking about. Does anyone? Oh, I'm going to have to show you this because otherwise you won't know what I mean. Where is it? This is brilliant. So Neil Warnock had a problem with players that were injured. This is how I feel about.
Before the game, Warnock's main source of concern is over striker Danny.
This is how I feel about Sanchez in the dressing room. If I was in this position, I'd do exactly what Warnock's doing.
At a martyry.
Yeah. Bloody hell, I want you ready, lads, in about a minute, lads, eh? Sorry about that. 1, 2. Danny, go and get in bath, son. Go and have it away so I don't sit. That'll make me feel sick if I look at you. There's a good lad. Run a bathroom, just stop in there.
That's what I do with Robert Sanchez. Go in the other room, please. What's the tweet? What tweet are you talking about? What tweet are you talking about, buddy? I don't know what you're talking about. He's released... he's spoken about Tyreek George. I haven't got a clue. Let me know what the tweet is. Anyway. Yeah, so that's what I do. I do exactly what Neil Warnock did. I'll show you one more time because it's funny. I do love Neil Warnock. He's got a show coming up in London. I want to go. I might buy a ticket.
Are you ready, lads? In about a minute, lads, eh? Sorry about that. 1, 2. Danny, go and get in bathroom. Go and out to wait so I don't sit. That can make me feel sick if I look at you. There's a good lad. Run a bathroom, just stop in there.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Right, let's see what you guys are saying. Sorry. I'm going on a bit of a tangent there. And with our team and our defense, it's tough for a goalkeeper to prove his worth. Well, Petrovic did that last season, so I don't buy that at all. Petrovic did it in a harder season than this season, in a more difficult circumstance. So I don't agree with that whatsoever. That's a true coach, but at first glance, you could tell Sanchez is not that guy. We've spent how much on wingers, and we still need a winger. No, we don't need a winger, but we could certainly improve in that department as well. Everyone talks about strikers and defenders and goalkeepers. Goalkeeper's not the problem. We have the goalkeeper. We could certainly use another centre-back. Vega will come back. You have depth on the right side, but Gusto, does he really fit into that? It's not a priority, fair enough. So you're looking at a centre-back in the midfield. You've got Ugochukwu and Santos coming back. Amudu, or whatever his name is, he's going to go to Strasbourg. 10 as cover, you had João Felix, you had Chukwuemeka, you have Nkunku. None of those players are going to be relevant in a year's time. I think they're all going to go. I think Chukwuemeka will have a fantastic loan at Dortmund. And then the striker, we certainly need support there. So yeah, I think really, if you're looking at 3 positions, you'd say centre back, cover for Palmer, striker, and I would get another winger, maybe even 2, because you've got Mudryk, who is probably not going to come back, if we're being totally honest. I mean, we don't know, but I don't think he will. You wouldn't test negative. Oh my God, Leicester are 1-0 up. Come on, baby. Woo! Have a look at that, boys. Brilliant. Leicester 1-0 up. Let's have a look at that goal. What's happened there? Oh, nice bit of skill. Who is that? Is that Ndidi? Oh, Di Corrado Reed, or whatever his name is. Bobby Di Corrado Reed. Nice. Good goal. Scrappy goal. Shit defending from United, though. Really crap. Jesus. They are rubbish. Yeah, so that's my stance on it. But I would, yeah, you've got Mudryk who's going to go. You've probably got Madueke who could leave, who I would honestly be totally open to getting rid of. He's all right. If you can make a profit on him, I actually don't have a problem with that. It's different if you're making a profit on a top player. But you look at the Newcastle bid, for example, and maybe it doesn't look so bad if you're going to make 10 million. We need a top goal scorer and a striker in the transfer window. I agree with that, Daniel. With my viewers and live streams in the comments, I never got one positive from Sanchez. The only positive I would get is his shot stopping. But we know that his bozo personality is there always. That's true. Why hasn't Bowley released a statement regarding the Vivid Seat controversy, and why hasn't he resigned yet? You know, it's a very interesting point that you make, Stephen. And I read a comment on a video that we did yesterday or the day before. It was 3 Points Perspective. It's a pre-recorded video, so if you only watch live ones, you wouldn't have seen it. But I'll see if I can find the comment. So this is the comment, and I'll put it in the chat because then you can read it with me. This is the comment here. And you tell me what you think about it. Such a fuzz about nothing. Todd Bowley bought stakes in Vivid before Chelsea was up for sale. And so before he was putting together a consortium to buy Chelsea Football Club, according to a public available information, 90% of Vivid's revenue is based on US sports tickets, mainly NFL, NBA, and MLB, which is the baseball. Tickets for the Premier League games are not even 3% of the revenue, and most of the related tickets are sold for games from United, Liverpool Football Club, Tottenham and City. Chelsea is ranked mid-table at their ticket sellings. Do people really think Todd felt like, oh, let me buy a stake in Chelsea and I can make a couple million by selling their tickets with a surcharge? Chelsea sold for 2.5 billion, and 2 billion have to be invested into the club. Furthermore, is 12.7 shares in Chelsea equals an investment of roughly £571 million. Sure, worth selling a couple of tickets for a little bit extra. So that was one of the comments I read, and I mean, it's a good point, isn't it? It is a good point. I see both sides of these things, you know, but I'm with the fans that think it's wrong. I do think it's wrong. It's a moral thing. It's not about how much he makes. It's just the fact that he does it. That's the problem. Yeah. So that's my stance on it, Steve. But I mean, it's an interesting comment, isn't it? It must make you think about the other side as well. Does Bowley really care that much? Does he even care enough to release a statement? We're going to find out. Palmer can play on the right and Felix in the 10. I would be more than happy to see that, but we're past that point, I'm afraid. If we keep missing out on Champions League football, do you see our best players leaving and putting transfer requests in if we keep missing out on Champions League football? I mean, that's the reality, isn't it? But that's also where we cover our backside with the wage caps. But then it makes it even harder to attract players if we were in a position where we weren't able to, we certainly weren't able to attract Osimhen in the summer. How do you think we'd attract anyone after multiple seasons without Champions League football? I mean, that's a very worrying sign. So, yeah, that's my stance on it. Anyway, I haven't even got through I was meant to do my prediction, wasn't I? Sorry, I was going on a bloody tangent. Let's get back to what we were saying. So your concern in goal for me. Now, I want to see Trevor Chalobah in there as well. I want to see Chalobah replacing Colwell. I think Colwell, he doesn't need to play this game. I'd probably drop him for the Premier League game as well. I've got nothing against against Colwell. I think he's a good player. He's had some stick recently, but he's also made quite a few mistakes as well. So you've got to appreciate that you've got to perform. He hasn't performed. So, yeah, I start Trevor in this game. And next to Trevor, I have Tosin. For me, Tosin he was a good bit of business. You know, people criticize me for saying that Tosin's better than Fofana. Where is Fofana? What does he do? I haven't seen him. Have you seen him? At this rate, I don't even know if he's fit enough to even get into the medical room, let alone on the pitch. That's my stance on Fofana. He was always injured, and you got Tosin, who's always available. And he was a free transfer. People want to criticize the business, and I will criticize. Of course I will. I think Tosin was great business. Was it ambitious business? Another argument. But it was Well, where is he? Where is he? If Fofana's so good, let's play him against Brighton. Oh, wait, we can't. All right, fine. You know what? Fair enough. What about the game after that? Oh, not available again. All right, fair. How about maybe in March when we play Conference League? Oh, he's not available. He's been taken out of the Conference League squad. He's shit. He's shit. It's the worst transfer. Terrible business. I have nothing against his footballing ability. He's a good footballer. He's never fit, and it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. People say, well, hang on, Reece James. How much did we pay for Reece James? How much did we pay for him? All right, you can talk about Lavia as well. We paid almost 50% of what we paid for Fofana for Lavia. Still not ideal, but we're not paying 70 million for the guy. 80 million almost. It's ridiculous. That's my stance on it. Who else I want to see? Do you know what? I wouldn't be opposed at all to seeing Josh Achimpong. I think Josh Achimpong, when he's played for us, he's been a really, really good player. He's been a really, really good player. So I was so impressed with his debut at Crystal Palace. I think he was man of the match in that game. I think he certainly deserves minutes in this one. And what's the worst that can happen based on the amount of mistakes he made recently? So yeah, big up to Josh. And yeah, for me, he plays at right back. And then we're going to have to play Gusto out of position, aren't we? We're going to have to, because I don't want to see Cucurella getting injured. I don't play him in this game. I mean, I do play him if I'm desperate to win, and you know, you'll still start him in the Premier League anyway. But just from a fitness perspective, I think that's where we'll go. I think we'll have Gusto on the left. I would like to see him. Do I want to see Gusto inverting on the left? Just play him in a role which is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't put him into the midfield. Play him as a simple left back. But I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? I also think that when we come to the midfield, this is the scare, isn't it? That we have is what happens if Caicedo gets injured? What happens if he gets injured? But the question is that if we don't play Caicedo, who can play instead of him and do a job anything like what he does? And the answer is that nobody can do what he does. You got Lavia, who's not available. You got rid of Cassidy. You got rid of Chukwuemeka, who, I mean, he wouldn't be able to play in the same position, but he's still a midfielder that can go in there, maybe play Fernandes a little bit deeper. You could change things. And Dewsbury Hall's certainly not capable of doing what Caicedo does. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I think that we're going to play Caicedo just for the defensive stability. I mean, you could play Enzo. I see Daniel. You want us to play Dewsbury Hall. I think Dewsbury Hall will play. I think that will be Caicedo next to Dewsbury Hall in the midfield, and yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all if we see him in that. I mean, Dewsbury Hall actually in what was the game that he played in the Premier? He played against Wolves, didn't he? And I thought Dewsbury Hall did a really good job. So it's not to say Dewsbury Hall's been really bad every game. He hasn't. But you know, you feel bad for the guy because you know he's not good enough. He knows he's not good enough, and he's, you know, he's stuck here, isn't he? Why? Maybe he came here for the payday. Who knows? I don't know. Fofana will be playing for the NHS. Thank you very much, Matty. Appreciate it. And big up to everyone that's watching as well. We've got about 40 of you in the building at the moment. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Can we get up to 35 likes on the video? Let me know in the chat what we are on, because I haven't got a clue. 35 likes. Can we get up to 35 likes? We've only got 10 minutes left of the show before I wrap it up, and then I'm going to appreciate the downfall of Man United and tune in for the second half. I suggest you do as well. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Watching Amarin crumble. But in fairness, it's not his fault, is it? They are just, it's an unmanageable club. It's unbearable. I used to say the same thing about Everton, but I actually think David Moyes has done a really good job. So there's that. Now, I think this is my opinion. This is what I would like to see. I would like to see Sancho start in this game. I'd like to see him start on the right side, though, not the left. I don't think he did enough on the left side in the past couple of games. I just want him to keep it simple. Put balls in. At least if you're on the right side, you don't have to worry too much about, do I cut in or do I go outside? Keep it simple. Get some crosses in there. See if you can get nifty. Create something as well, and maybe get a shot or two away, although it's not really Sancho's game to do that. He should do it, but he doesn't do it enough. So I'd like to see Sancho on the right-hand side. And you know, he'll have support from Josh potentially coming up, but not too much. So he's going to be left to make some magic happen. But Lord knows we need some magic. There's not been enough magic at times. And some people want to see Neto start in this game, but I don't think this is the game for Neto. I don't think this is the game. I think we're going to see rotation similar to what we saw against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Now, this is probably slightly heavier than you'd expect because I don't even think Tyreek George started that game. But I would start him. You've got these young players. You've got a squad that you need to develop and keep happy. And you could argue that we still have enough quality to beat Brighton based on the fact that they've got some of their best, well, one of their best players injured as well with Belieber, potentially Ayari as well. And we're also hitting about Estupinian. Now, they've just come off a 7-0 loss against Nottingham Forest. They're not exactly going to be high on confidence. I want a young player who can run at these guys, and he's got a point to prove. Give the manager something to think about. That's what Achimpong did against Palace. If he can do it against Palace in the Premier League, why can't Tyreek George do it in the Cup? It's where the magic happens, and again, we need to see some. On paper, the NHS team has a better team than United. It's probably true. Do you think Caicedo needs a rest? I would play Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, but he can't play on his own. He's got to play with someone. So you either play him with Enzo or Caicedo. And from a defensive standpoint, you're almost forced to play Caicedo. Otherwise, your midfield's it's a bit open. It's vulnerable. I almost think that by not playing Caicedo in this game, we're basically giving the game up. But at the same time, you have that side of it, which is that Caicedo needs a rest. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen at all. We're going to clear out the rest of Academy products. Chalobah is next. It's unfortunate, man, but it's true. And that seems to be fairly obvious. They're paying it as if like, oh, yeah, of course we're getting rid of him. Fucking stupid. Ridiculous. We almost bought Ugarte. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we didn't. Caicedo is tired. He needs a rest. You're right. Is Amuga available? Maybe, but we won't see him feature. Maybe an appearance off the bench, if that. But I'm very doubtful about that. But hey, you never know. You got to remember this guy only played 17 games in Ligue 1. You think he's going to jump straight into the Chelsea squad? And also, when I say 17 games, I'm being generous. One of those games was 3 minutes against Lyon. Do you count that? Do we put that on the stat sheet? Clownake didn't want to pay Osman's wages, and now we're stuck with Nicholas Jackson. I didn't have a problem with keeping Jackson. He just needs some support. I would never sell Jackson. I just want another striker there to compete against him. Do you know anything about Mudrik's B sample? I saw he was in the Conference League squad. Well, listen, the way the club are obviously painting this is innocent until proven guilty, which is the way that they should do it. But that doesn't mean it's, that doesn't mean that Mudryk has also done something wrong. The truth is nobody knows, and I certainly don't know. But we're going to find out in the coming months, I'm sure. Neto won't start. I don't think he will. I think that, to be honest with you, with his injury problems, again, I wouldn't take the risk. I just wouldn't do it. But then again, I could be wrong. But fucking hell, I'm looking at our squad and I've found 2 wingers, but I haven't even got a number 10 in there, guys. Everyone's injured. We can't play Palmer, surely. Do we play Palmer? Kellyman. I haven't seen him play at all. He's on a 6-year deal. He's 19 years old. And I don't really know if he's going to have anything to do with this. It depends how heavy the rotation is. I mean, if we're not going with heavy rotation, then you'd have to say, if we're taking this competition really seriously, it's probably going to be Palmer. And that's a bit scary as well, because again, you don't want to get your best interest, your best player injured. But who else? Who else do you play? Who else can play in that 10? We've gotten rid of everyone. They're all gone. Well, I would love to rest Palmer, but who plays instead of him? We haven't even chosen a striker yet. You'd say, okay, playing Nkunku as a 10, but who's going to play in front of him? Who's going to do that? It's worrying. Tomorrow is FA Cup, Andrew. So I wouldn't worry too much about top 4. So it's the game next week that we have to worry about with regards to top 4. Like Barley, Bowley, Winstanley, and Stewart on the bench from Maresca. You never know. You never know. You know those African owners that force the managers to this is in like Africa, not in England, and they force the manager to play their kid or something like that, and then you see the kid and he's, you know, big fat lump, looks like he's never played any football in his life, but he's forced to play him because of the owner, because it's his son. I don't think we'll see that, but it's a funny thought. And Nkunku probably will be up front, Daniel, and that's the way to finish it off, really. So, you know, do I look at this squad with a lot of confidence? Not really. But do I think that we have enough to beat Brighton? Yes, I do. I think that we've got enough. I think that we have enough to win this game. I think that we have enough quality. We have, I won't say enough depth, but as long as these players can stay fit, then we'll be okay. I mean, in this game, if we're looking at academy products, you've got Josh Achimpong, you've got Tyreek George. I mean, you've got Raksaki as well, and there is a striker who I can't remember his name. Raksaki could play in the midfield potentially alongside Dewsbury Hall, but again, you're losing an awful lot. You're losing an awful lot. Maybe, you know, maybe you do have to look at, maybe you need to look at playing that new midfielder that we bought. Yeah, so maybe this French kid that we bought from St Etienne, maybe he's the one that needs to play. But yeah, my score predictions for this game, if I'm honest, I'm going to have with Sanchez and without Sanchez. I think with Sanchez, we lose. We just lose. With Jorgensen, we win, but it's not comfortable. Maybe a 3-2 or a 2-1. I can see goals in this game. So I'm going to go 3-2. But who knows? Guys, if you haven't already smashed the like button, please do. We've got 27 of you in here at the moment. Please smash the like button. It does help the channel. It shows us as well that you're enjoying the content and you want us to keep doing it. So if you haven't already, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel as well as always. I've got a couple more questions and I'm going to head off. Why aren't we using the academy? Who knows, Steve? Who knows? Mistake from last summer was the transfer window. We should have got a striker. We knew that as well. That's why we were so heavily linked with Osman. But if it's not the right opportunity, as they say, then we don't take risks involving our finances like we did in the first window. You won't see any more sterling contracts dished out at 350k a week. You won't see ready-made players coming in on over 150. You just won't see it. We're more interested in getting Garnacho, bringing his 50k up to 80. That's a 30 grand pay rise. And then there's obviously an incentive clause. If we get Champions League football, that money can all go up. So that's where we're at the moment. That's the situation. But listen, guys, really enjoyed the show. I hope you're well. I will be doing a show tomorrow around lunchtime, probably just after, before the Brighton game. Tune in for that one if you've got any time. Apart from that, guys, all the best, and we will speak very, very soon.